The team at Gradvine thought that this could be a crucial time for releasing this video where we'll be covering some important points about the GRE. Now, throughout this video, I'll be plugging in our other videos where we'll be discussing each phase in greater detail. This video could change your perspective of the GRE and maybe relieve a little bit of pressure and introduce you to some truths about how universities perceive the test. So stay tuned. I am Sreekar Sannapareddy. I am the co-founder of Gradvine and I am a Dartmouth grad. Over the last 7 years, Gradvine has helped thousands of students to the finest universities all over the world, with over 98% of them making it to a top 50 university. We've had people with a 311 make it to Stanford and a 303 make it to Duke, and a whole bunch of students without GRE score also make it to Ivy League schools. So we know a little bit about how GRE is perceived by the admissions committee and what you can do to maximize your chances of leveraging this test. My first point will address the elephant in the room. Should you even attempt the GRE, considering a lot of universities don't require it? Here is where there's a little bit of nuance. In terms of the university's official language, there are different phrases. If the university states that the GRE is not required, then they will not be considering the GRE at all in terms of evaluating your application. If a vast majority of your target universities, based on your GPA and projects, do not require the GRE, then you may not need to take it at all. But here is the deal. If a university says the GRE is optional or the GRE is waived off, it means that they will consider your application even without a GRE. But in these cases, it is certain that you having a good GRE score will work to your advantage. Needless to say, if the GRE is required by the university in their words, then you need to have a test score in hand for your application even to be considered. Overall, as we move away from the years of the pandemic, most universities will require the GRE or at least have it as an optional requirement. Therefore, I strongly recommend you take the GRE to strengthen your application. Now, my first point would have ended with a little bit of bad news or sad news for some of you. Don't worry, point number 2 is very positive. And now I'm going to talk about how admissions committees perceive the GRE and its importance in your overall profile and application. Understand that the GRE is not even the second or third most important thing in your overall application. It is largely used as a filtering parameter by most universities to figure out with what level of interest they're going to read your application. Your GPA, your technical projects, your internships, your full-time work experience, if you have any, are far more important for master's programs overall. Now, if you're applying for certain quantitative heavy degrees like a data science or an analytics, then your quantitative score might matter more. However, in any case, your academic aptitude, which is reflected by your GPA and your technical projects, will always take precedence over the GRE. In my experience, with the thousands of students we've guided, I've seen that if you score over a 315, a 315, the GRE rarely becomes a reason for rejection of your application. Beyond that, if you're rejected, it's unlikely because of the GRE score. It's probably because the rest of your profile is not strong enough. So don't put undue pressure on yourself, assuming that you have to score a 325 or a 330 to stand a chance at a top university. However, that being said, having a base GRE score at least will work to your advantage because at least your application will be considered at every university, and you're not cutting down your options by only applying to universities that don't require it or have it as optional. Now, if you want some advanced tips in terms of improving your GRE score by 5 or 10 points, then you can click on the video here and I'm going to give you some useful tips. In addition, we are hosting an absolutely free GRE tips and tricks webinar for which you can register using the link in the description. Now, point number 3 comes to a very nuanced case again. The GRE format has changed in recent months, and some of you might be wondering what has exactly changed. Well, the GRE right now is a lot shorter. It also has only one AWA or essay section. The amount of time you have for the test is also reduced and the number of questions you have to attempt is also lower. Now, what remains the same is the amount of time you have per question is the same because the duration is lower, but the number of questions are lower as well. The difficulty is the same. The preparation strategy remains the same. However, the weightage per question is different because it is still scored out of 340, but with a lot fewer questions. Now, if you have trouble sitting for long durations and focusing, then this newer format will work to your advantage. But if you're prone to silly mistakes, then because each question has greater weightage, you might be in a little bit of trouble. Now, I've also covered the GRE format change in great detail in one of our more popular videos, and you can access that here. Alright, now these were 3 points I certainly wanted you to consider if you're giving the GRE soon. Now, of course, when you give the GRE, how you give it, all of that is covered in our timeline video, which you can access by clicking here. And if you want greater detail in terms of how admissions committees evaluate profiles, you can also click on our video right here. If you found this content useful, please do like, share, and subscribe. Understand that the GRE is not the be-all and end-all of your application process. And like I stated earlier, we've seen plenty of students with lower GRE scores make it to their dream schools. If you want assistance with that, you certainly should schedule a free consultation using the link in the description. If you found this content useful, please like, share, and subscribe. We are very, very close to 10,000 subscribers, and your help will take us there.